All right, hello everyone, welcome back. So most of you know that I recently acquired my CNR license, also known as a Curio and Relics license or an O3 federal firearms license. I did a previous video about the process of acquiring one and kind of the rules around it and the steps involved, but basically this allows me to trade and sell firearms that are 50 years or older for the purpose of enhancing one's collection without having to go through a standard FFL transfer process. That means no background checks. I don't have to spend $25, $50, even maybe $100 for a transfer through a firearm shop or a gun shop. So saves me a lot of time, saves me a lot of money. This is particularly useful because when you purchase a firearm online from an online vendor, you're typically required to ship it to an FFL, like I just said, where they'll have to conduct a background check, and you'll have to pay a transfer fee. So this kind of cuts all that out. So here I wanted to kind of show you what the process looks like between purchasing a firearm online and having it actually arrive to your door, and what are the steps after that. So let me jump into that for just a few minutes. So a couple weeks back, I made a purchase on GunBroker for 2 Carcano rifles. I made my bids and won them eventually. Afterwards, you get a little notification from the seller, plus their contact information, and then I communicated with the seller by sending them my CNR license. Just emailed it to them, usually when you win an auction. And I'm talking about just GunBroker, but the same rules pretty much apply for any vendor. In this case, GunBroker has a pretty easy process to kind of clear through your CNR license, clear all the sales, and it's a pretty intuitive, simple process. But anyway, so you win your auction, you get a notification, it sends you, just kind of like an order number you'll put in, you'll submit your CNR license as part of that. They'll send you their email address, their contact information. You go ahead and either call them, email them, message them through GunBroker, and they have a pretty good system, again, for dealing with that sort of communication. And then you submit the order. It'll calculate the tax that's owed, the fees, etc., all that kind of stuff. And anyway, so yeah, I communicated with the seller, emailed them my CNR license, and they legally need a copy of that before shipping the firearm. And then also talk about a little bit what form of payment I intend to send to them for the actual rifles. Now, GunBroker has its own policies on how you should pay for the product. If you pay outside of those methods that they endorse, then you kind of lose that protection or guarantee that are kind of built into their terms. So do what they say. In this case, the seller wanted a USPS money order, so went down to the post office, got one, and mailed it off to their address. Told them it was on the way, and as soon as he received it, I got a little notification on GunBroker that the product was in the mail, and then also had a tracking number, which is pretty useful. Of course, you can also buy plenty of firearms not on GunBroker. I mean, there's so many different vendors and sellers online. And yeah, as long as the gun you're purchasing is legal in the state that you're purchasing it in, then it's totally fine. And then, of course, if you do like win an auction or purchase a firearm and you live in a state where that firearm is not illegal, or if if they don't accept a CNR license, then of course they can't actually ship it to you. They'll have to issue you a refund. They might charge you a fee or whatever. But yeah, there's plenty of almost all the major retailers, even Cabela's and some of the other big. There's thousands of online vendors. So anyway, most of them take CNR licenses, and it's kind of a really useful tool. So now we wait for the firearm in the mail. All right, everyone. So the package came in today. Greeted the doorman, signed for the package, and I was going to go ahead and take a look at it. I'll go ahead and inspect the product. Make sure we're all set, and then leave a review sometimes, for the vendor. If you're happy with the product, if you're unhappy, you can leave, basically the same thing with eBay, right? If you go through like all these GunBroker profiles, you'll just see a bunch of comments. If the product is fine, just, generic reposts of, excellent product, great, fast shipping, etc. So that's if your experience was good. But, after I've completed this, I'll go ahead and, log each rifle. But let's go ahead and check it out. It's the first rifle. And then, of course, as part of it, they'll also send me, you know, a bill of sale as well as a copy of their CNR license. Beautiful Carcanos. It's looking good so far. Pull them out of all the bubble wrap and whatnot. Yeah, excited for my 8mm conversion Carcano. So this is, I guess, one, you know, need to do a little bit more research on this, but basically these were made for the Arab market or the Egyptian market. I'm not entirely sure, but you know, got the S for the Spitzer 7.9, which is 8mm Mauser. And then it's got the edition, I guess, post World War II refurbished. I'm not entirely sure about some of the origin stuff, but the double locking lugs, or not the locking lugs, but the recoil lugs right there. Inspect them, you know, make sure they look good. After this video, I'll go ahead and look at the, just go ahead and take a look at the barrel to make sure the bore looks good. You know, RE Tourney. So yeah, anyway, this is my 8mm Carcano, you know, model 38 troop special configuration. So this would have been 6.5 Carcano at one point. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other one. And this is a 38 or a model 38 Moschetto or cavalry carbine. That piece. So this has had the iconic folding bayonet on the end of it. You know, play with it a little bit, make sure it actually works and functions properly. So the mechanism works good. Yeah, taking a look at everything, you know, make sure the bolt actually works. Caliber, so 6.5 Carcano. What's interesting about this, again, these are the 38s were the Carcano rifles that were manufactured while along with the 38 Troop Special and the 38, just the model 38. So this is when the Carcano switched from having a adjustable sight and they just kind of simplified everything and made a straight, just notched, non-adjustable sight for 200 meters, I believe. And then they just did this, simplified the manufacturing process. Again, looks like it's in good condition. Some cartouche marks here. Some other stuff on the side. I'm not entirely sure. All these Carcanos kind of have a different story. This one's interesting because it's missing. It looks like this was ground down. The receiver, at least, was, or the barrel was ground down a little bit because the manufacturer's mark is missing. And same with the year it was manufactured, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why that is like that, but anyway, so those are the two Carcano rifles, the M38 Moschetto and then the M38 Troop Special, or Moschetto per TS, that was converted to 8mm. So anyway, cool Carcanos. So anyway, that is pretty much how that CNR license process works. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take these and I'll go ahead and log them. That's kind of the last step there, is take the person's CNR license, make sure you keep that on record, log both of the rifles. That is one of the requirements, is you have to log all your transfers. Well, at least the transfers where you use a CNR license. You could still go through you can still, in theory, have your CNR license and still go through a normal background check if you don't want to use your CNR license for that particular transaction. So anyway, guys, I'll leave you there, and I hope you enjoyed the video.